Well, the fallout from Republican Congressman Greg Walden's opposition to President Obama's proposed Social Security reforms and doing it using progressive left arguments, it continued Thursday as House Speaker John Boehner voiced his disagreement with his friend, the NRCC chair, on the idea of changing Social Security's cost of living adjustments.
I made it clear that I disagree with what Chairman Walden said. This is the least we must do to begin to solve the problems in Social Security. Chairman Walden and I have had a conversation, and we'll leave it at that.
House Ways and Means Chair Dave Camp also weighed in, expressing his support for the president's proposal, saying, quote, "I think the president made a step forward on entitlement reform in the budget, and I welcome that step forward with chained CPI." Meanwhile, the Conservative Club for Growth has added Walden to their website called primarymycongressman.com, saying in a statement, quote, "We always knew Greg Walden had a liberal record, but he really cemented it with his public opposition to even modest entitlement reform. Walden should be held accountable for his anti-growth voting record as well as his anti-growth rhetoric." Let's bring in our Friday gaggle who can't help but laugh, apparently out loud. David Hawkings from CQ Roll Call, former DNC spokeswoman Karen Finney, who will be hosting a new show on MSNBC weekends at 4 p.m. Very nice. And Pete C., Indiana Republican Party spokesman and former communications aide to President George W. Bush. All right, two of you can't help but laugh. I'm sorry.
No.
David, let me start with you. You have to cover the political aspect of this. We all thought Greg Walden was going to walk this back yesterday.
Right.
And, you know, I had multiple political consultants going, "Have you seen how this polls? Have you seen how this polls? Oh, by the way, you know, it's a tax increase, too." He goes, "There's plenty of ways for Republicans not to support this, and this is radioactive."
Yeah, well, first thing, it made my head hurt. I mean, it still kind of makes my head hurt. I guess what I'm wondering is he now going to, he's the head of the NRCC, right, which we all know. Is he?
Right.
Does this mean that he's going to start counseling Republicans in tight races to
go against
this? I mean, I can't imagine it.
Well,
I can't imagine the speaker's going to let him do that.
That's what I think the curious thing. I think he is, my understanding is that's what their polling tells them.
That's what their polling tells them, and I've got to have some faith that there's other polling that says having your head spin around is
it's not a good idea either, Karen. I mean, the president's going to find out who wants to work with him and who doesn't.
Sure.
To see who denounces Greg Walden and who doesn't.
Well, sure, but I think the longer game, at least I hope that the White House's longer game on this is to put this budget out, to say, here's my last best offer, and look at what's already happened within the Republicans. I mean, it's one of those things where Democrats can kind of step back. Yes, Bernie Sanders and others have sort of already started about chain CPI, and
they don't like it, right?
But you've got within the Republican caucus, I mean, I had to look at the television to make sure I was hearing right who it was that was, saying that yesterday.
But Pete, it actually, this does now it's why we were watching why Republicans wouldn't own entitlement reform. They always kept saying they wanted the president. No, you put out a plan first. You put out a plan. Because it's not popular.
Well, I feel like I always get the fun topics when I'm on the show. So thank you, Congressman.
Yeah.
But look, I don't. Yes, they always do say that, but it was House Republicans that put something out first. The Paul Ryan budget.
Medicare, and that went over well.
Right. Yeah, but at least we're putting a plan on the table. It took the president 2 months past the deadline.
Okay, that isn't what Greg Walden said.
No.
No, I mean, that's the thing. That's what I assumed he was going to say.
But, and
so what do you
hear,
do here, though?
Obviously, there's two sides to this. The other side of what he said is, that he's looking forward to the elections. I saw a quote from his former staffer at the NRCC saying he's thinking about those 30 districts that make the difference in having the House majority, and maybe he's trying to inoculate them and give us a little drama to talk about.
And I have to say, to be totally crass here, Karen, midterm elections are about older voters and smaller turnout.
In general, unless somebody changes the dynamic. No,
I'm just saying.
That's exactly right. And it was pretty clear in that answer that that's what he was thinking about. He was not thinking about what the leadership was going to say. He was thinking about, I got to get these people elected. Nobody wants to own this thing. I got to put this out there. We'll figure it out later how we talk about it.
I thought they'd go for the secret tax increase angle, which is sort of plausible.
It's much more plausible because that's a fact.
That's a fact. That would raise something like
It's not a secret tax increase. It's a
it's a hard to explain.
Right. It's a hard to explain tax increase. That's a better way. But the White House now, don't they have a walk-away free card?
Absolutely.
From talks now in a way that they didn't even have.
It's an extra walk-away free card.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in a way that really sort of complicates the politics of budget.
Which is odd because sort of I thought the president, going all the way with the first offer was sort of a strange move, but now they can walk away.
It may actually end up being brilliant. It may.
We'll see. All right.
We'll see.
You guys, we have to take a pause. Rain in Washington, you'd stop laughing. Well, actually, you can keep laughing. Because there's nothing funnier than Fred Yang and Bill McIntyre.
No.
They crack people up. They're a great comedy routine. And the deep dive is coming up next as we take a look at that. And don't forget, Up returns live this weekend with its new host, our friend Steve Kornacki. That's Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. Don't miss it. By the way, today's White House Soup of the Day, a Friday regular. Ragin' Cajun Gumbo, and it's not just because Carvel was on Joe this morning. Keep sending in your good morning videos, by the way. You could be the next winner who gets to open our show either from the middle of the ocean or with a crazy cartoon. We'll be right back.
That's great.